David in Belmore. What's up, David?
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good.
Question for you on the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be safe to say, aside from the area of New England, that the country would be rooting for Seattle in this game.
I guess, yeah, I would say that's probably true.
Yeah. So my question to you is why do you think? Let's take the past decade of football with the Patriots and how good they are or good seem to be good every single year.
We're going to go. Sorry, I'm sorry, because we're going to the commissioner. He's going up to the podium as we speak, so we'll get ready on the Fan and on Fox Sports 1 to hear the commissioner's press conference. We don't want to miss any of it as he heads to the podium. Here we go.
First, congratulations to the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Roger, it's Sam Farmer of the Los Angeles Times. 2015 marks the 20th year without a franchise in the nation's second largest market. And coincidentally, the 20th consecutive year that I've asked this question. Earlier this
I do recognize it already, Sam. You want me to finish it for you?
Should I just drop the mic? Earlier this month, as Jim mentioned, Rams owner Stan Kroenke announced plans for an 80,000-seat stadium at Hollywood Park. Considering that he has the land, the vast resources, both financial and political, can anyone else win this race? What's the criteria that the league is going to use to determine which team or teams are able to relocate to Los Angeles? And what if an owner decides to go rogue and without the NFL's blessing says, I'm just going to move my team no matter what you say?
Well, Sam, several points that you made there, and let me try to be responsive to all of them. First, let me start with your second question. The ownership takes very seriously the obligation for us all to vote on any serious matter, including relocation of a franchise. There's a relocation policy that is very clear. We have shared it with our ownership over the last several years. We have emphasized the point in each of those meetings that there will be at least one vote, if not multiple votes, if there is any relocation. We would have potentially the relocation itself, potential stadium funding, potential Super Bowls. So a lot of things would likely be subject to a vote. And our ownership takes that very seriously.
You're listening to the Roger Goodell press conference on the Fan. He's in the midst of answering an expansion question, which is to his delight because he doesn't have to answer any hard questions then. So he's in the middle of an L.A. expansion question that is going on and on and on. Back to the press conference.
Going to any particular stadium.
Roger, Mike Garofalo, Fox Sports 1. I realize that this question might seem to some people petty, especially in comparison to some of the other things you'll be asked this morning, but Marshawn Lynch's cooperation or lack thereof with the media this week has become a big story. And since even before you were commissioner, you concerned yourself with growing the game, with marketing the game. So what's your take on how he handled the media this week, and has your office made a decision whether he'll be fined for lack of participation or for wearing a non-licensed hat?
On the second part of your question, I do not believe any decision's been made on that. Our staff will probably look at that following the Super Bowl and make a determination as they have in the past. I've been very clear that when you're in the NFL, you have an obligation to the fans. It is part of your job. And there are things that we all have to do in our jobs that we may not necessarily want to do. I think Marshawn understands the importance of the Super Bowl, the importance of his appearance, and the importance of him as an individual in this game. And fans are curious. Fans want to know. The media would like to make that story clear to our fans. I understand it may not be on the top of his list, but everyone else is cooperating. Everyone else is doing their part because it is our obligation. And as I say, there are a lot of things we don't like to do in our jobs, but it comes with the territory, and it comes with the privilege of playing in the Super Bowl.
Commissioner Goodell,
didn't answer the question.
Darren McKee, KKFN, Denver.
Yes.
Speaking of jobs, it's been a tough year for you and your job this year. Many people in America, if they went through the year you've had, probably would have resigned or been fired. Can you envision any set of circumstances which would lead you to resigning or being fired as your job as commissioner?
No, I can't. Does that surprise you? Listen, it has been a tough year. The second and probably important issue for us is that we want to make a difference in this area, not just internally but externally. We've done a great deal to bring more awareness to these issues of domestic violence and sexual assault. We are committed to that. We are working with various organizations to try to make sure that we, as my advisors like to say, and Jane Randall's over here, normalize the conversation, bring awareness, understand what victims and survivors are going through. One of the most compelling moments I had of this entire fall was going to shelters or going to a hotline center and being able to speak to the advocates and hear the fear, the emotion, the economic consequences. That is compelling, and it will make you understand this issue much more deeply. And we as the NFL and this commissioner understands it a lot better today than he did before. And I think we as the NFL want to make this an important issue where we can make a difference in society in general, because this is a problem in the broader society.
Commissioner John Sutcliffe from ESPN,
yes.
Taking into account what the Mexican market means for the league, the largest attendance, but it's been since 2005 since the league has had a regular season game in Mexico City, and the fans don't understand why. Can you explain to them why?
John, we have tremendous fans in Mexico. We had a great experience with the regular season game down there. As you know, that was our first.
You're listening to the Commissioner Goodell press conference, which has been tedious, and we've learned absolutely nothing so far. And one good question he was asked, he didn't answer, which was about Marshawn Lynch. He never answered the question even remotely, nor has he answered any real question yet about anything. But now we're hearing about Mexico, which none of us care about, but, you know, that's what happens at these press conferences. We'll try to hopefully get something of value on the air sometime in the near future. Let's listen.
Rachel Nichols from CNN. Roger, you guys have faced a lot of problems over the past year that have a really wide range, but a lot of the issues have in common is a conflict of interest. When you do something like hire an outside investigator like Ted Wells into the Patriots investigation, you're still paying him, and Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots, is still paying you. So even when you do everything right in one of those situations, it opens you guys up to a credibility gap with some of the public and even with some of your most high-profile players.
She asked great questions.
What steps can you guys take in the future to mitigate some of those conflict of interest issues?
Well, Rachel, I don't agree with you on a lot of the assumptions you make in your question. I think we have people that have uncompromising integrity. Robert Mueller is an example who I think you asked me the same question last fall about a conflict of interest. Their integrity is impeccable. Ted Wells' integrity is impeccable. These are professionals that bring an outside expertise, an outside perspective, and their conclusions are drawn only by the evidence and only by the attempt to try and to identify that truth. So I think we have done an excellent job of bringing outside consultants in. Somebody has to pay them, Rachel. So unless you're volunteering, which I don't think you are, we will do that.
Nasty.
But
see,
we
just nasty. Just nasty garbage. She asked a good question.
Protect the integrity of the league. Whether we have an owner that's being investigated or whether we have a commissioner that's being investigated, they're done at the highest level of integrity and quality.
Nonsense. Nonsense asked.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Bobby Senna, and I'm the NFL Play 60 Super Kid.
I just met you, Bobby. Nice to see you again.
Well, playing 60 is an important part of my life, but how do you play 60? I told you it was a tough question.
Well, Bobby, I played 65 this morning, as a matter of fact. I was in the gym at 4:45 this morning doing the elliptical.
Roger, Fox 29 TV and Sports Radio 94 WIP in Philadelphia. When Sean Payton was suspended from Bounty Gate, you had said, and when he said he was unaware, that ignorance is no excuse. Will the same standards apply, as you said, to the integrity of the game when you complete your investigation on these footballs, and if they were deflated by anybody, will the same standards hold true for Bill Belichick? And one other question. Richard Sherman said the other day that if the players should be available every week, you as the commissioner should be available to the fans and the media on a weekly basis as well. Can you address his question as well?
Well, let me start with the second one. I understand the obligation, my job, to meet with the media. I don't know whether I meet with them in a press conference every week, but I'm available to the media almost every day of my job professionally. So we try to make ourselves available on a very regular basis. It is my responsibility, it's my job, and I will do that. The first part of your question, I want to make sure that we don't mix issues. These are individual cases. The Saints bounty case was something, without getting into the details of it, there were allegations of that a year prior. We investigated that, did not find anything. Later, new information came to us that verified that a bounty program was in place. At that point in time, they were all on notice that bounty programs obviously are unacceptable, that there were suspicions, and that they shouldn't continue to exist. So I do hold the head coach responsible in that case. We don't know enough in this investigation to know who is responsible or whether there was even an infraction. When we get the facts from Ted Wells, we will certainly take all that into account, and we will make the right decision to protect the integrity of the league.
Over here. Hi,
Yes.
Amber Dixon, NBC Las Vegas. Las Vegas has long expressed interest in having a professional sports team, whether it be NHL, NBA, or NFL. In your opinion, do you think Las Vegas could sustain a professional team?
Well, I can't speak to other sports for sure. I certainly can't speak even to the NFL because I haven't had any dialogue with officials in Las Vegas about how that could happen successfully for Las Vegas and for the NFL. A stadium would be a big component to that. I'm not sure that exists right now. But I do understand the passion of the fans in Las Vegas and their interest in football.
Commissioner Neil Reynolds from Sky Sports in the United Kingdom.
Commissioner Ken Belson, New York Times. I understand this is ultimately not your decision, but do you believe you personally deserve a pay cut this year for your performance?
That's up to the owners. They evaluate my performance. They evaluate my compensation every year, and I don't argue.
Yeah, why would you?
Yes.
Roger, Kevin Acey from the San Diego Union Tribune. Just minutes ago, the mayor in San Diego announced a task force to explore a stadium getting built there.
Everything's
You've been very complimentary of what Dean Spanos has done in terms of trying to get that done there.
All anybody cares.
Can you speak to the fans there about how important it is? Do they need a new stadium? And also, has Dean done enough to demonstrate that he's tried to work things out locally?
Yes.
Roger, Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune. Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras to you, too.
God.
As you're aware, I'm sure.
Yes.
Hi, Ian Walker from the London Evening Standard.
Oh, my God. I can't take it anymore. I'm done. Get me out of here. Let me roll on it and let me know if they ever get back to any issue. I mean, I can't take it anymore. One more question on expansion. This is the most ridiculous. What they do, lock everybody else out of the room or nobody cares? I mean, they just know they're not going to get a straight answer. Not one question, folks. Not one question as this press conference goes on about the fact that Kraft got off a plane and said the NFL had botched the investigation. Not one question about that to the commissioner of the league on Friday. Not one question about the fact that one of your former all-star players who was in this game in 2011 is at the present time facing capital murder charges as the Super Bowl goes on in Massachusetts. Not one question. Not asking the commissioner of the NFL about a response to that. Not one question about the fact that this week Paul Tagliabue criticized the commissioner and the way he's doing his job in an interview in GQ. And took shots at the commissioner in print in GQ, this issue that came out this week. Not one question about the fact that he said they were vigorously going after the facts in Deflategate. They have not spoken to a Patriot player in 2 weeks. Not one player. And then he attacks Rachel Nichols, who asked an excellent question about conflict of interest, and then said, guys with resumes that we buy are not conflicted. Is he kidding? They pay for them, they hire them, and they're not conflicted when the only attack he faced was the one from the arbitrator in the Rice case who had nothing to do with the league, who destroyed him. Well, the Mueller guy did nothing to him. The Mueller paper did nothing to him. The arbitrator in the Ray Rice case destroyed him because she was objective. She killed him. I mean, this stuff, and then he attacks Rachel. Are you going to handle it? No, you're not, are you? Are you going to do it? Bully. And that was just nonsense what he did. And she asked a square question, which she always does. And he didn't like that she did that to him last time. Nonsense. Nonsense. You got guys from London, Mexico. Every question's about expansion. Because these people go there to get something for their paper, which I understand. They don't get a chance to talk to this commissioner ever. And you can't get an interview with this guy. You cannot. And if you do, they ask you to submit the questions in advance. So you cannot do it. Impossible. An impossible commissioner to talk to. Will not sit for a freewheeling interview under any circumstances. And today, they didn't even go, they didn't get to anything about what's going on in this league right now. The Sean Payton thing, he basically told you a bunch of stuff that was totally not true. Go read the Tagliabue finding about what he found out. He found nothing in the case. The commissioner was angry with Sean Payton. That's why he hammered him. Just unbelievable. So I can't, you know what? I wish there was something there worth listening to, but you know what? I couldn't take one more question from London. I just couldn't take it. I just could not. Back after this.